What is going on YouTube? This is Dustin with To Be Honest Disc Golf coming at you today with a topic about something we know none of us really want to talk about when we talk about disc golf, man, because let's be honest, it kind of sucks. Let's talk wind. So, when you talk wind, I feel like there's four different kinds of wind that we really need to discuss. The first wind being a headwind, that's a wind that's coming at you. The second wind being a tailwind, that's wind that's going away from you. Third wind and the fourth wind are kind of almost the same thing. Crosswinds, basically from a right to left or a left to right. All of these winds will most definitely affect your shape shot. More than likely should affect the disc that you choose to throw as well. In this video, we're going to discuss all these things, discuss discs that maybe you should use or that I would recommend that you use in certain situations. And just remember, these are all my suggestions. I'm nowhere near an expert, but this is what I've come to find helps me and helps me kind of score a little bit better. Hopefully it helps you. If I'm completely wrong, please comment. If I'm completely right, please comment. So anyways, let's dive into it. First wind to talk about, headwind. So headwind, like I said before, is a wind that's just coming directly at you. Now, I do feel like it's important to say that when you're talking about wind, generally speaking, you're not going to have 100% headwind. There's no way. So maybe it's a headwind with a little bit of, a right to left or a left to right. So really, you kind of need to combine some of these strategies together to come up with the best option for you. The first wind that I want to talk about is generally considered the most troublesome wind that's out there. It's a headwind. So headwind, it's important to note, this is probably going to make your disc fly a shorter distance than normal. It's going to make your disc fly a little bit more understable than normal, which is why a lot of times people throw more overstable discs when there is a headwind. Or I would even recommend possibly throwing a neutral disc and just try to keep it low to the ground and as flat as you possibly can. That's probably always going to be your safest bet for any of these wind conditions, to be honest. So, a couple discs that I recommend to throw in a headwind. Pyro. Pyro is an overstable disc. It's a mid, perfect for wind, fights right through it. Pretty reliable fade to it. You're still going to have this fade to the left, but maybe not so much of a fade as normal. If you're wanting to go throw a little bit faster of a disc, maybe get a little bit more of a distance, but also kind of gamble a little bit more. You could throw more of a driver, like a fireball. This will go a little bit further, but again, it's going to fly less stable, making the disc kind of go straight a little bit more, or possibly just completely straight, and then kind of fading out towards the end. It's also important to note with the headwind that if you throw your disc nose up, so like this, that wind is just going to eat your disc up. It's going to fly straight up in the air like a kite. It's not going to go anywhere, and it's going to fly more overstable because it's going to kind of die down. The energy in the disc is going to kind of die down. It's just going to slam down to the ground. The second kind of wind that I want to talk about is called a tailwind. This is actually considered to be the most favorable wind that exists in disc golf. Generally, it will help your disc fly further. Generally, it makes your disc fly a little bit more overstable. So if you're a right-handed thrower, going to make your disc go to the left a little bit more than it generally does. That's why a lot of times people with when they have a tailwind, they'll throw more of an understable disc or a disc that does have a little bit of turn to it. They'll try to get that disc in the air a little bit more so that it can kind of ride that wave and just go really far. So it's important to note that when you are throwing into a tailwind, a lot of times you're going to want a disc down. So in my opinion, two great discs for in a tailwind. Detour is a great disc, sorry, upside down. So it has a -2 turn to it. So it will kind of lengthen its flight a little bit, fly up in the air, get it up in the air. It's going to go really far. Another disc that I would recommend, just a little bit faster to be honest, is a crave, specifically like a fission crave or like a beat-in fission crave. To me, this does fly understable. It does do a turn. Has a -1 to it. I would almost argue it's more than a -1. But anyways, these are two good discs that I would throw in an understable wind condition. All right, the third wind we're going to talk about is a crosswind. It's specifically coming from left to right. So realistically, the easiest way to deal with a crosswind and really any wind, in my opinion, like I stated before, is to throw a really neutral disc as flat as you can, as low as you can to the ground. But if you're going to throw a disc and you're going to throw like you normally would and kind of, you know, somewhat ignore the wind, if you will, if you've got a left to right wind, you want to throw more of an overstable disc so it kind of fights through that. The most important thing to note when you're throwing a disc is the flight plate will lead and show you where that disc is going to go. So if you throw into a left to right wind with an overstable disc, it won't be as overstable. So that's important to note. You wouldn't necessarily be throwing this right to a target and let the disc fade in. You might throw more straight direct at the target, or maybe just a little bit to the right of that target to kind of let it fade in, just a little baby fade. The fourth wind is a crosswind as well, but right to left. Generally, you'll want to throw an understable disc or a neutral disc again, but also, like I said before, the flight plate tells you where this disc is going to go. So you kind of want it to be going like this, and the wind will kind of help it fade. So here's the thing. Ultimately, the flight plate is going to guide your disc. Whatever direction the flight plate is facing is the way your disc is going to want to go. The other thing to note is that the bottom of your disc is like a kite. So if you have a wind coming this way and you throw this disc and you throw it like this, the wind is just going to take your disc and it's just going to go that way for a mile. If you have that same wind coming this way and you throw this disc and you throw it like this, it's going to fight into that wind a little bit and ride it out a little bit longer. These these are the important things to know when it comes to wind. The issue is everyone hates wind. Wind affects everyone's game. Doesn't matter how much you play, how long you've been playing, what discs you have, any tricks you have. Everyone hates wind. It affects us all. All right, the final point I wanted to discuss with you is the different kind of discs that you can throw in the wind. Simply put, you've got a driver, you've got a mid or like a putter or whatever you want to say, just not a driver basically. You can see the difference in the rims there and the thicknesses. So your driver here, it's thinner, it's going to cut through the air a lot faster. It's going to be a quicker disc to get through the wind. The issue is that it is way more susceptible to wind gusts and being affected by the wind gusts than a mid or a putter. So, vice versa, the mid is not going to cut through the wind as fast, but the good thing about it is that it's not going to be affected by the wind as much, or it's going to take more wind to affect a mid or a putter than it would a driver. So, that being said, if you were going to ask me what kind of discs to throw in the wind, I would say stick with the mid, 5, 6 speed or so. Best case scenario is a super neutral mid, maybe like a hex or something, which I didn't even bring out to talk about, but like a hex would be your best bet. If you can throw this disc and you can throw it flat and low to the ground, almost isn't going to matter what kind of wind you have. The problem is that most people can't throw exactly flat. Most people either have a little bit of hyzer or a little bit of anhyzer. Once you get that wind in there, it could go flying. So if you're going to throw anything that's not, whether it's overstable or understable, I still feel like it's in your best bet, unless it's a tailwind, to keep that disc as close to the ground as you possibly can. Don't gamble so much in the air. And with the tailwind, it's always important to note that disc is going to fly farther than you're used to. If you get up there and you throw a pyro, for example, pyro for me, 250-foot hole, this thing's going under the basket every single time. Perfect for that. But with the tailwind, this thing's going to go about 280, 290 with the same throw that I would normally throw. Very important to know. Good to get to know your bag. Good to get to know your discs. Good to get to know yourself. Can you throw it flat? If you can, great. This whole video probably isn't going to affect your game all that much. Keep throwing that neutral disc really flat, as low as you can. You'll be good to go. That concludes all the content for this video. I did just want to say thank you so much for all my subscribers. We've been getting a lot of subscribers lately. I am doing giveaways every single month, starting with January. In January, we are either giving away a Trash Panda Intercore, Trash Panda Dune, or a Trash Panda Ozone. There's currently a poll right now for what you guys would like. the leading disc is the inner core currently. I think that's going to be a great disc to give away. It's a great disc for a beginner. Please like and subscribe. If you are not a subscriber, you will not be eligible for that disc. You will have to comment on a video that I post when I do get that disc and kind of talk about it a little bit more, to kind of announce to you that that is the disc that I am giving away. You will have to comment on that video, and then we will meet up, and hopefully I can film you throw that disc at least once, and that can get you on the channel, see how that disc throws for you. Anyways, you guys have anything you need, please reach out. We have a lot of cool things coming. I got jerseys, I got banners, I got stickers, I got shirts. I'm getting custom discs. Just keep an eye out. I got koozies. I'm going to have cool things to give you guys, fun things to give you guys. So please keep an eye out. Please like and subscribe. I'm trying to make content great for you guys. I'm trying to help people grow, help people get better, help people have fun. See you next time. Take it easy.